Hello, Oracles. What a day today. Tesla up almost 8% on the day, leading into the FOMC meeting tomorrow. So the question is going to be, what is the Fed going to do tomorrow? And how is the stock and the market going to react? So today we're going to kind of discuss a few different scenarios that could potentially play out. Sorry, I'm still getting over my cold. So just kind of like, if the Fed is going to do one of several things, how is it going to market react? Why would the Fed make certain moves? Why would they pause? Why would they maybe come down on rates and do a surprise pivot? Why would they go up on rates and continue moving higher? So just to work all those things out, we're going to go into that today. First things first, though, we will take a look at the charts, and we created a new gap today. So that gap that we created is now up. Looks like we have broken this trend, the downward trend, and we did come up out of this. So now we're pushing that $200 level, which is that level of support and resistance that we had before. So are we going to break through that? I think tomorrow is going to make that determination. Whatever the Fed is going to do is going to either push us past 200 and we continue going up, or we are going to break down from here. And actually, we'll take a look at the RSI right now. RSI is at 57, so right in the middle. So we theoretically could go either way when it comes to the stock movements. So, and hey, Marty, what's going on? Yes, Tesla has entered the blue chip world. Now that they are investor grade rating for both S&P and Moody's, they're there, and it's only going to go up from here. It's not like it's going to come down. I mean, unless there's a catastrophic failure and a collapse in Tesla, which I cannot foresee. It is definitely blue chip. Now we're going to be continuing to push higher. And one of the things that we had discussed previously with Alexandra was, yes, this is the big step for them going into investor grade rating, but if they continue to go up and get higher versions of the investor grade rating, is that also going to help the stock? That is true as well. There are other institutions that will get into it, and the institutions that are in it now will have a larger percentage of their portfolio that can go into Tesla as well. So every step up is going to be a good thing for Tesla as they go forward. Let's see here. Yep, and actually, Karav had just shared with me right before we got on more record numbers coming out of Europe for. Let me see if I can get it here. More record numbers for Europe coming out. Phenomenal news. Looks like he's estimating 62,537. Europe for Q1 is going to be 95,916. So it just keeps the inventory keeps coming down. Great news over there. So thank you, Karab, for sharing that. Great info. Looks like we have some very strong numbers coming in out of Tesla for deliveries. So if you guys were watching us last night with Brian and I've got my number at 430,000. That's right around where Karav is. And, anything over 405,000 is going to put us into record territory. That's where we were for last quarter. So obviously we're going to hit a record. I cannot foresee us not making a record. It's just a matter of, are we going to hit a record in every region? And now it looks like Europe might actually make that happen as well, especially because Berlin is ramping, but are the sales still there? And it looks like they might get there. And yeah, Marty, you're right. I mean, and this is the one thing to remember too, auto demand is down. Yes, EVs are growing. It's kind of, this is how disruption works, but EVs are growing. Overall automotive is down because ICE, don't forget, makes up the majority of the market. Over 90% of the market is still ICE vehicles. That is down, and EVs are scooping up into that. This is why whenever I hear Tesla Q and bears say, oh, Tesla's losing EV market share, it's not EVs versus EVs. It's EVs versus ICE. ICE is currently losing market share. The entire automotive market is coming down because of the economy, and EV is actually growing within an economy that is a shrinking automotive market. That's very strong, and that's great for Tesla in particular, because now it's going to come down to what we've talked about all last year, which is whoever is producing the most is going to win. Tesla, by far, is producing the most worldwide. So that's why they're going to win. Chadwick, I love it. Chadwick's going with the 420.069. That's awesome. And then, and my push number, my lucky number is 4. So, 444, 4044 would be my bigger, bullish number. Yeah, rug pull. So the rug pull, when it comes to EVs, I think anything that happens with the bad economy, the worse the economy gets, the harder it's going to be for everyone. But anyone who is struggling to begin with or has a lot of debt is going to be even in worse shape. And Ford and GM are going to be there. Ford's not going to be as bad because Ford, I mean, I guess you could say it was fortunate for them. They made the decision to kind of shrink their business down to their really meat and potatoes products. And they realized what their main customer focus is. They decided to shrink down to that, which was a smart move. So it's going to be easier for them to get through this and make that transition over. Meanwhile, GM is going to have a very difficult time, and they're going to need a lot of help coming out of this. Hey, Melissa, how's it going? Nice to have you on here. Andreas, what's going on, my friend? It's got to be late over there. My goodness. Yeah, I was just going to say it's bedtime. Yeah. Oh man, yeah, it's definitely late there. Oh man. So looking at again the charts, I don't obviously know where we're going to be going, but looking at where Adam and I were talking last time we were on, when the Fed pauses, typically the market runs. And then we go to potentially all-time highs. And then when the Fed pivots, we end up seeing that crash and a recession. There's a lot of other data that goes involved into this, the reasons why the Fed was pivoting, why we're pausing, unemployment, so many other factors. So going strictly off of that data is not the best way to do it, but it is one piece of data to go with. And historically, that's what has happened. So now talking with Open Skies today over on Twitter, she had mentioned how perhaps the last 3 months and this run that we have kind of seen in the stock, yes, we've pulled down from that 215 mark, but the run that we had seen may have been that anticipation of a pause. Now, if the Fed does end up pausing tomorrow, that could be an indication of a pivot, and maybe the market ends up coming down. So, my thoughts on what are going to be happening tomorrow are I still think we're going to be seeing a 25 basis point hike. The Fed basically, regardless of what we've heard murmurs of in the news, regardless of the tone that the Fed has given us, every single time they've told us they're going to be doing one or another thing, they've done it. So they said, hey, we're going to be raising rates this amount. This is the goal that we're shooting for. We're going to raise rates until about Q1 or Q2 of 2023. Then we're going to pause, leave the pause for about a year, and then we're going to start coming down in about Q1 or Q2 of 2024. I still think that's going to end up playing out. Data, of course, is going to play a role in this. And we saw the PCE is the data they really like to go off for inflation. We don't get that until the 31st, but we did get numbers coming in for CPI and PPI. CPI data came in right in line with expectations, but it's still at 6%. When it came to the PPI, we beat significantly. The PPI has actually been a leading indicator for where the CPI could be going. That could mean that we see a much lower CPI coming next month. So, with all of that put together, I think we're still going to see a 25 basis point hike because I think the Fed is going to want to get the interest rates above inflation to really push it down. That's just my take on it. If that is the case, then we might end up seeing a freaked out market. We just saw some bank collapses going on. A big reason for that is because some of these banks, like SVB, was invested in very high growth stocks, kind of more speculative plays. In a rising interest rate environment, we all saw what happened to spec stocks. All the SPACs that were out there demolished. Any company that's not profitable, completely destroyed, because when you're looking out long term, PE ratios get squashed. They don't have true PE ratios yet because they're not profitable. When you have companies and banks that are invested in that, they get blown up. You keep raising interest rates, it's going to be putting even more pressure onto these banks. A lot more companies are not taking loans from these banks because it's high interest rates. They don't want to be taking on that kind of debt for the future. They're trying to be wise with their money also. The bank has less money coming into it. People are kind of getting concerned. They start taking deposits out. You see this domino effect and spiral happen. That's kind of what we saw with SVB. That's what we ended up seeing with Credit Suisse had their problems. So some people are thinking if the Fed raises rates more, we're going to continue to see these banking collapses, could cause a bigger domino effect and have some bigger issues going forward. So that is the fear of a rate hike going up. We also have a potential pause. If the pause happens, okay, the market may end up actually cheering this. But again, if we see the pause as a pivot, the market may come down. Maybe this is what they are anticipating. We see that pull down. Now, Elon comes out and says we should see a cut by 50 points. Yep, absolutely right. Raymond says it right here. Elon actually said Fed should cut by 50 points. Elon is looking at this from the perspective of more like the PPI inflation data, because when he sees that, he sees, all the materials that they're going to need for the future. They're buying 6, 12 months down the road, and they're buying these for the companies saying, hey, what are the future prices on all these materials? Okay, that's what we're going to be purchasing at, anticipating that's what they're going to be at. He sees those prices are going to be coming down in the future. Whether they're actually going to be that price then anyway, we don't know. But if that's the price they're paying for the future, that's PPI coming down, that's inflation coming down, that's very disinflationary. So looking at those leading indicators, if we keep going up on rates, the Fed may have to pivot sooner if we end up falling off that inflation cliff. So those are kind of the three different scenarios that we could see is obviously a rate hike, a rate pause, or a pullback. Initially, I thought maybe we'd see a 50 basis point hike, but I think after CPI and PPI, we won't. I think it'll still be a 25 basis point hike, and the market might not like that. I don't know. I haven't even heard much about the Fed talking about a pause. Somebody had mentioned it, but I didn't hear many articles or read anything really deep into it. Um, so tomorrow's going to be interesting. And for those of you guys who don't know, let me see. And then, yeah, how many more banks will go down with another hike? I don't know. That's a good question. So you have to look at like the big banks. I mean, yes, the banks that are out there that fell were pretty big banks, but you look at the solid ones, like the Bank of Americas, things like that. These are larger ones that I think will be fine, but it could get ugly. And again, that's a lot of money that's out there that we're going to have to get supported by the Fed, and it could be ugly. So tomorrow it'll be 2:30. We will have I believe it's 2:30. Gosh, it's been so long. So 2:30, the Jerome Powell will come out and he'll tell us what's going on and give us the rate hike, and that's when we're going to see the market react. This time I think it's going to be different. Kind of last year we saw we'd see the rate hike, the market would react one way, he would talk and it would move the other way. I don't know if that's going to happen. So tomorrow will be interesting. So definitely buckle up for it. The volatility is here for sure, and rates are going to be changing, I think, upward. And I don't know if we're going to see that in May and June. So May and June are the next two FOMC meetings. I was thinking we'd see 3 more 25 basis point rate hikes. We'll see how tomorrow plays out, because if if the market doesn't react accordingly very well, we might not see any more. We might see the pause after this. And again, as Jerome Powell said, one of the things I like to pay attention to are what the Fed is saying. And Jerome Powell has not changed what he said. He just changed the tone of what he said. And he has constantly been saying we're going to be raising these rates to what we need them to be. And it seems like the median is now at around almost 6% to get the interest rates to. We might see it get there. What's going on, Karav? At least Powell's no longer using the term transitory. Yes. Yes, the recession is transitory. The bank collapses are transitory. Oh, Melissa, look at this. Nice up 66.60. Very nice. Yeah, I'd love to markets to fly again too. And as you guys know, I'm still trying to add more. I'm a little guy, so it was great seeing my portfolio up almost $1,000 today. So very nice. I've got crypto in there as well. So nice to see that. But I want to buy more, and I want to buy more for less. Now, two mentalities are buying it now, looking at 10 years, now is less. But knowing the economy, we might actually get it for even less. Because if we do get into a recession, we could potentially pull down to 100 again. We've got that gap at 114. I'm not going to let it go. I think we will come down and fill that gap. Even if we run tomorrow over 200, I still think we come down and fill that. Yeah, let us sofa. Let us not forget after the Fed pivots, there will be a small rally, then the real party starts. So that is what we've seen as well. The Fed pivots, there's a bit of a bump up in excitement, and then it crashes. And again, this is what Adam and I spoke about when the Fed pivots. That has every single time historically been the start of a recession, whether that is what triggered it or they did it because something else triggered that recession, whatever it is, that's when the Fed pivoted. So if the Fed right now is anticipating pivoting next year in Q1 or Q2, that might be when we see the recession start. Whereas many people thought we were going to see the recession starting around now, it might not start until 2024. So again, historically, that's how it has played out every single time. Um, whether this is going to play out the exact same way, who knows? Anybody who's watching March Madness right now knows that the 16 seed has never beat a 1 seed until Duke got beat several years back, and then it just happened again this past weekend. So, nothing happens until it happens for the first time. Uh, Transitory bank collapses. Yes. Uh, Call options. I gotta get into some calls. I'm getting there. I'm almost at the point where I can start doing some options. So as soon as I can, I'm gonna do paper options first. Very wise. This is financial advice. If you guys do want to get into options, something you're looking at, always go with paper options first. This is where you're just playing around. You're not using real money. It's just kind of testing how it works. Highly recommend doing it that way as a practice to understand the volatility, understand how all the decay works on your options. Definitely do those first to learn before you get into it and just dive right in. Let me see. We are in a recession. So, I mean, GDP technically went up. So, I don't think we're technically in a recession because GDP is positive. But I know that we were in one last summer, and it was just the government that's like, whoa, well, it's not just the GDP, it's other things as well. Just like when the government decided that pizza was going to be a vegetable. Like, seriously, how can I even trust these people? Hanif, you had some great comments last night. Thank you. If the bank interest rate goes up tomorrow, lots of Americans will take out all of their savings out of the banks and avoid future issues, and the Fed is going to have a giant meltdown. I thought about that. So I was talking with Brian. Brian gave a great bunch of insight into this. So theoretically, the way it works is there's always a delay. So if everybody takes their money out all at once, yes, massive collapse. That's a huge problem. They don't have the money coming in to be able to offset that. If it happens over time, it's all the T-bills because they have a lot of the money in T-bills and other bonds, so they can't cash them out instantly. So if people take their money out slowly over time, they'll have time to be able to get those T-bills. They have more in those investments to be able to support all of the people who are invested in their banks. That's how it works. That's how the regulations work. But if everybody did it all at once, they wouldn't be able to do that and fulfill all of it because it would take time to get all of that money to pay those people. Oh, Raymond, you're using margins. Ah! Oh man. Yeah, I'm with you in spirit, man, but margin, dangerous, dangerous. Yeah, be careful with margin all the time, always. Yeah, I know some of you guys, yeah, no options, no options. Um, I know like Vinny, who's been on here numerous times, he does it. I know plenty of people, doing it in a manner where for me, I would just be like selling puts. It's basically what I'm doing now, which is, in my IRA, I sell as we swing up and down. As we come back down, I put in buy orders as we come down. Selling puts is kind of the same thing, except you get paid a premium to wait for it. And worst case scenarios, it doesn't trigger. So you got your premium, but you didn't end up getting the shares at the price you wanted them for. The stock runs and you miss out on those profits. So that's the upside and the downside for it. But if I'm already buying shares fully anyway, it's not really as bad because I won't fully miss out on that. I'll just miss out on the extra. I'm still have that upside. Yeah, yeah, margin. And so, I mean, you guys know anybody who was following what happened back at the end of December when we crashed down to that, 110 level. that's what happened. There was a lot of people who were on margin. Stock collapses very quickly. A lot of margin calls. A lot of people got hurt out there. That's why there was so many people out there crying and screaming and drama filled because they're getting margin called. It's not fun. You can lose more money than you invest. So, like at least if you're just going straight in with stock, you put in your money. If it goes to zero, you lose what you put in. So be it. But if you're in margin, you can lose more money than you actually put in, more money than you may actually have. And that's dangerous. Melissa, I'm totally with you in selling in your IRA. Great idea because, like you said, you can only contribute so much but can trade daily. Yeah. So, what I do, and I learned this from several of you who had done it in the past as well, is just that. And I don't, it's still risky. Tesla swings up and down, follows the charts and trends relatively well. So, you can kind of follow it almost, not I want to say easily, but it's easier to follow. And so, for me, I saw a swing go up, saw a lot of reasons why we were going up, followed the charts. We hit that 215 level, which I thought we were going to hit, bounced off of that. And I ended up selling at 152, 175, 185, 190, and 192. So I sold 12 shares along the way up there. And now we're coming down. So I'm still anticipating we're going to pull down below 152, fill that gap at 114. I can then take all of those profits, reinvest it into the shares at there, and mathematically I'll be able to buy up 3 more shares from the profits that I made. So again, still a risky move to do, but you can only contribute $6,500 a year into your IRA. But there's unlimited amount of swing trading you can do in there tax free. So if I catch all these swings just right, I can keep on adding share after share after share without having to pay capital gains taxes and use all that money to buy more shares back. That's exactly why I do it. Ooh, Karav upped it to 436, 491. Very nice. I have no doubt that's from the European numbers that came out. So it's very interesting. On April 2nd, Brian over at My Tesla Weekend, if you guys watch him, definitely subscribe to his channel. I will be on there for that delivery morning. Because normally I'll do a video later in the day myself, but that day my son has a soccer game 2.5 hours away up in Massachusetts. So long drive, but the timing is perfect because the game is at 12:30. Usually it comes out in the late morning. So the whole entire drive, I'll be able to be on live with Brian chatting, waiting for the numbers to drop, and we can discuss it all then. So if you guys want to follow us then, April 2nd is when the numbers should be coming out. Marty, yeah. Anything above 450, I think is going to be crazy. I think the problem we're going to end up seeing is very much like we saw all of last year. And Brian had a great example of it last night. If he was from the future and we went back 12 months or 14, 16 months and said, hey, next year in 2022, you're going to see record deliveries, record profits, new factories being announced and opened. We are going to be seeing energy taking off, but you're going to see the stock price come down by 75%. You would have thought that person was absolutely insane, but that's exactly what ended up happening. So just because we end up seeing record deliveries, yeah, it's exciting. But again, this is why for long-term investors, I always say, pay attention to the fundamentals. That's the important part for long-term investing. What's happening in the economy is going to be more near-term, maybe medium-term, depending on how bad it gets. So that volatility is going to affect the stock in the near and medium term, but long-term, those fundamentals are still going to play out. That's why it's important to follow. And that's why if we end up seeing a pullback in the near term due to the economy, not due to fundamentals, that is why it's a great buying opportunity. Let's see here. Yes, yeah, April 2nd. So typically, they come out between 10 and 11. I think it was a little bit after 11 this past time, so on January 2nd, but typically the second day of the month after the quarter ends is when they come out, which ironically is like constantly on the weekend. I don't know why, but it's just falling that way. I know it won't always be that way, but yeah. Yes, Raymond, is IRA is some sort of retirement plan that postpone tax in the US. In Canada, we call it RRSP, Registered Retirement Savings Plan. Yeah, and I know it's different everywhere. There's, if anybody on here is from the UK, I know there's one in the UK also. So yeah, so we have our 401k, which is your typical retirement plan. We have an HSA, which is your health savings account, which is for medical stuff. So you can put money into that, which is kind of like, if you have medical issues, you can go and take money out of that. It's also a tax free account. But that money that you put into there, and that there, I think it's $3,000 a year you can put into as a single person, and you put $3,000 in, but you can invest that. So you can grow that to be bigger than the $3,000. So that's another one. And then the IRA, yes, is our tax-free plan as well. So I go into stocks, I can go into ETFs, whatever I want. Typically, a lot of people put money into dividends in there because again, you don't have to pay the capital gains taxes on those dividends. So you put enough money in there over time. And this is why one of the tricks a lot of people say is get a side hustle, hire your child and pay them to help you. They could be under 18. Doesn't matter. They're 3 years old. They're helping you pick up trash around the office or whatever it is. And you can write off up to $12,500. Always check with your accountant because it's different everywhere. But you can write off up to $12,500. That comes off. And then you can take $6,500 of that and put it into an IRA for that child. You do that every year. By the time they hit 30, they have $1 million in this IRA that could be producing who knows how much money, could be in dividends, whatever it is that you want that stock to be, that IRA to be in. I mean, heck, if you would put that into Tesla 10 years ago, think about the money that your child would have in that account. You do that, now your child has this wonderful retirement account that they can tap into in the future, and it's all because you were getting write-offs on your taxes. So always check with your accountant on the details behind all of that, but that's what a lot of people do, and it works out very well. Had I thought about that myself and known that information before this year, I would have done that for my son. I can't do that. I guess I can do that now. I'll just talk to maybe I could do that this year. I'll talk to my accountant on that one. I also don't make enough yet with the channel and all my other businesses to do that because that's literally what I made all of last year was about 12,500. EV tailgate party at your son's soccer game. Yeah, I wish that would be awesome. Um, and I'm sure where we're going because the soccer camp that he is in, it's not really camp. It's more of a I don't know what you want to call it. It's a league that he's in. It's pretty high end. It's not like I'm loaded by any means, but it's a good program for him to be in. And there's typically a lot of people with more money there, so you usually see nicer cars. So I'll try to count how many Teslas I see at this because he's got a bigger tournament this weekend. There's 3 games. I'll count to see how many Teslas are there, and then I'll let you guys know when I get to the one on the second how many are there at that one. It's a different tournament. Let's see. Karov, this quarter will be interesting. Troy and I have both pretty different estimates. I wonder who will be more accurate. That's true, and Troy has been pretty spot on, but he missed pretty big last quarter. I mean, a lot of people did. Tesla definitely underperformed when it came to deliveries. I'm like Brian. I typically focus more on production than deliveries because from my from my perspective, deliveries are always going to inevitably equal production. So if they're producing more, and one of the things that we were talking about last night is what is the percentage difference between production and deliveries for the quarter, and is that going to be the same going forward? So how many days of inventory do they have? Is that staying the same? Because the spread of the number could be going up, but the days of inventory could be coming down just because they're producing more and they're delivering more, so that percentage is going to come down. So I'm wondering if that's going to be, and then if we also go by, is the production number from last quarter going to be the delivery number for this quarter? And I think we said it was 439,000. Karov, correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was 439,000 was production for last quarter. So maybe we get 439,000 for deliveries this quarter. Yeah, Marty, I know. I saw that. So my son has not been in this league for probably 5 years, but every single time they have done this tournament, it's been Saturday and Sunday. Saturday has always been cold and raining, and Sunday has been relatively nice. And I saw it's supposed to be, at least down by me, it's 42 degrees and raining. So up by you, it's going to be probably like 35 and raining. So excited for that for 5 hours. Yeah. Not a fan of that, especially still getting over this illness. Raymond, let me see. The delivery numbers on April 2nd is official China Tesla numbers, I believe. Early Chinese numbers for insurance sources already look good. So April 2nd, because it's the end of the quarter, that is going to be all numbers. So company wide, they'll release it on the second, and we did see the insured vehicle numbers out of China from last week, 19,000. So very good numbers coming out of China as well. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the second day after each quarter is when they are going to be releasing that. Oh, and Karav, your delivery date got pushed to April 1st. You'll have to check mine because when I checked it a couple of days ago, it was still May 1st to June 12th. So I'll take a look at mine and I'll let you guys know later what I see. Yes, there it is. Thank you. Yes. So the SIPP in the UK, that's what it is. And hello there. Should have had you on tonight. It's all right. I'm going to be doing a lot of live streams, and we'll have Adam on. And I know it's later here. I'm starting at 6:30 now instead of 6, so it's even later over there. Uh, Let me see. Yeah, the maxing out, Melissa, for my IRA, it took me a while. My first year, I couldn't max it out, but luckily, you can still contribute to the prior year. So once I was contributing as little as I could, or as much as I could until I got debt free. Once I got debt free, I dumped even more money in faster just so I could fill up the prior year and then filled up the next year. And now this is my third year that I'm going to finally have a full year of contributions. So it's nice. Honey, yeah, in Canada, we have the tax-free savings account that acts like an investment account. That's awesome. I'm glad there's a lot of countries that do that. I know there's some that don't, and it stinks. Um, so you guys just need to move to one that has one. But there's a lot of other benefits in being other countries as well. Um, so just different places, different things. Melissa, totally right, Tim. My business paid for my child for like 7 years. He got 10,000 on retirement at age 20 already. Yeah, that's perfect. So we talked about it. I've talked about it before. The American dream was people coming over to start their own business and build that and do what they wanted with life and have that freedom. That's still there. The problem is that people aren't taught that in school. When you go to typical schooling, you're taught to, learn all these different things to work for someone else. And they don't understand the implications of having all this business. Starting your own business is difficult. Sometimes you need to get a loan. Maybe you can't get a loan. Maybe whatever business you're trying to get into is a very, full place that a lot of people are in. So it's not easy to build one. So for me, a big thing is being a subcontractor or doing stuff like this, getting a 1099 from places is ideal. Here in the US, you do that. So you still have a full-time job, you have benefits from your full-time job, you get income from your full-time job, and then you have that side gig. That side hustle is where you can make that extra money. That's where you get all the write-offs. So for me, what I ended up doing this year was I had about $13,000 in income that came in. I wrote off a lot of the things that I normally wouldn't be writing off: my phone, a quarter of my apartment, some of the gas in my car, trip to San Diego because I made a lot of videos while I was out there. So I can consider that work. A lot of things that I normally use, like my internet, the TV, all the stuff in my studio, my website, all of that stuff was all written off. So I was able to make the money, spend the money on stuff that I normally was going to be spending it on anyway, and then still continue to write that off at the end of the year. So I got even more money back in taxes. That's just the kind of the way it works. And this is why you'll see, and we had discussed it with my accountant. People give Donald Trump crap because he's, a billionaire, but he only had to pay $250,000 in taxes. It's because of the system. The system is built for that. And if you work the system just right, you can do that. Jen Strahan was on here and she was talking about how, she's got, income with real estate properties, but because of the way that they work their taxes and because of the write-offs that they end up having negative income shown on their taxes because of the write-offs. That's how the system works. So things to look into. And again, always check with your accountant on the details behind what you can and cannot write off. But by doing that, you allow yourself to have even more money to get yourself debt free. You have even more money to be able to invest, and then you can grow your side gig even more with that money. you can make your money work for you. That is the key to work on. Tim, get your son to bring a ringer to soccer a Tesla bot. Yeah, if only. Oh man. Karov, thank you. Yes. So 439,000 was production for last quarter. So maybe that's the number we hit for deliveries. We shall see. Tim, you should start a GoFundMe for retirement. The GoFundMe is like, man, I love them and I hate them all at the same time. And I love them because I love helping people out. I think they're phenomenal for the right causes, for the right reasons. It's super. What I think sucks is the fact that people need that. The fact that there's money out there and we have a system with a government right now where they can't get help from anybody else other than people who want to show sympathy and support for them. And I think that's the part that frustrates me is we have a broken system where people rely on donations from good Samaritans rather than from the government to help them in times of need. Yeah, Melissa, we were talking about that last night. 500 and a quarter, and we think it's going to be either Q2 or Q3. We will be definitely seeing that 500 deliveries in one quarter. And my next big question is when are we going to see 1 million in a quarter? I think that's going to end up happening when we hit volume production on the next generation vehicle. That's my take. So I think that's when we're going to see it. So probably I would say 2025, maybe late 2024, we end up seeing that. We'll end up seeing 1 million per quarter. What's going on, Mike? Welcome to the show. Yep, and there's Karav. Yeah, so Q2, he's got it at 507,800. I've got to update my numbers. I'm so far behind. Sorry, guys. Just so much going on. This being a dad, man. Just kids always number one. If you guys have kids, you know full well. Kids take number one seat always. So sometimes you got to put things on the side burner and take care of the kids. Because you know what? Before you know it, like, gosh, I think back. My son is 16 now, and I'm like, a year and a half from now, he's going to college. So, like, I told my employer, I go, look, I was like, he's got 1 more year of soccer. I'm making every single soccer game. So you guys are going to have to figure it out. I'll let you know what the schedule is when it comes out. But I plan on being at every single one and spending every moment that I can with him. When he graduates, I plan on getting a van and I will visit him whenever I want. I can park it right outside of his dorm or whatever. I'll try not to be that creeper guy. But, if there's a Walmart down the road, I'll park there. Don't care. I want to spend as much time with my kid as possible. Let's see here. My brother works in Singapore, no tax on capital gain, dividend, or flat tax rate of max 20%. Wow, that's pretty awesome. And we were talking, like you go down south in some of the states down there, like some don't have income tax, some don't have sales tax. And one of the things that I like, and I know some Republicans were trying to push for this, is get rid of the income tax altogether, but you raise taxes on everything else, which I think is awesome for the reason being that it really curbs your spending and it really encourages people to get themselves debt free and financially free because the more you spend, the more you're spending. Because if you're going to be getting taxed instead of like here in Connecticut, it's like almost 6.5% for taxes on sales tax. If that goes up to, let's say, 10 or 12%, I'm going to be apt to be like, you know what? I'm not going to spend as much money because it's going to cost me even more. Very much like taking a loan right now with interest rates. I'm not going to go take a loan right now with, 8% interest rates. That's nuts. Credit cards pushing 30% interest. You're bonkers if you're going to go out there and spend money on a credit card that you can't pay off immediately. That financial advice, if you are using a credit card, which I do, if you're using it, pay it off immediately. My trick with my credit card, because I get 2% back cash on my SoFi card, I will pay it. I'll spend my money on it because I know I'm getting 2% back, but I always have the money. I know I have the money to pay for these things because they're things that I've budgeted out. Spend the money on my credit card, go right onto SoFi, pay the credit card right off. It's done. So it's one extra step, but now I'm basically getting a 2% discount on life. And because I paid off immediately, I don't get whacked with the interest. All the benefits come to me. So 2% back, and then I can put through SoFi, I can put it towards a stock if I want, cryptocurrency, just pay off my bill if I wanted to do it that way. Let's say, I hit a weekly payer where I had a lot more bills coming in and I wanted to make sure that was covered. I could do that. Lots of options with it, but I have all that money for me to use. And so, this way I'm not paying those massive interest rates. But again, you know, you have, that spending, now you're gonna have more money in your pocket. So if you had all that income coming in, I mean, I'm getting whacked 35% in taxes. If I can have 35% of my paycheck back, oh my God, like I'd retire next year. Like it's ridiculous how much money that is. I'm like, I don't remember seeing anybody from the government at my job working 40 hours next to me. So you guys can pound sand. I want that money. I earned it. Click that thumbs up. Thank you guys. Yeah, don't hate the player, hate the game. That's really it. If you guys learn how the game is played, then it makes life so much easier. As soon as I learned how to do all of that and I got myself out of debt, life just completely took a massive turn. So it's one of the things that I actually do on the side. You guys go to my website, oracleinvestments.com. You know, you can sign up for a free thing. I have my patrons I help over there all the time as well. And this is what I do. I'll work with you guys, and again, it's not financial advice, but it's things that I've learned and little tips that can help you guys out to help you get debt free, help you invest more money. So just little tricks and things that I've learned over time, and health and fitness stuff, because that's also what I do. Because you can't enjoy your wealth without your health. Multi-Camzilla, any thoughts on the right to repair lawsuit against Tesla for their monopoly on repairs? I can say from personal experience, they're overloaded already. It can only get worse. Honestly, I got to admit, I am not as familiar with that, so I cannot speak to it. But if anybody else in here is familiar with that, please share. Just because, again, being so busy with my job, for those of you guys who don't know, I work in construction, retail, and rental. We're coming into season, so it's getting extremely busy. So I can't be on my phone checking things while I'm at work. And then I'm usually on here with you guys, and you guys have been giving me a lot of great information. So truly, thank you guys, because without you, I was telling Brian last night after the show, it's you guys who have been filling me in on a lot of the information. So thank you so much for all of that. So like I'll jump onto Twitter to get some things, but you guys fill me in on the rest. So if you guys can fill me in on this, that'd be great. Yes, Marty, thank you for clarifying this. You need to owe the government $7,500 in taxes to fully get the max of the EV tax credit. That's how they worked it. So for me, I wouldn't get that at all. And so that's why another reason why I'm like, do I go with my delivery or not? Because, I'm not paying taxes. I mean, so I am, but would I be able to get that all back? So I've got to actually have my accountant work out the numbers for me specifically to find out if I would and how much I would get from it. But that's important to know, especially when you're going into it. So don't just assume that because you're buying it, you're going to get the full $7,500. And next year, and Marty, I don't know if you know, as far as I know, next year is going to be a rebate at the time of purchase rather than a tax credit on the following tax year. That's the last wording I knew from it. I don't know if that is still the same. Yeah, Melissa, 1 million per quarter. That think about it is going to be amazing. I mean, obviously there's ICE companies out there. There's legacy companies that are doing this already, but to see Tesla doing it and getting there as quickly as they are going to, especially in a disruptive area like they're going into, that's awesome. Yeah, this is a great point too, and I think this is one of the big transitions we're going to be seeing over the next 5 to 10 years in the country, is people shifting over to more labor-based jobs, actually skilled jobs. So in the US, you can make way more money as a plumber than an attorney. You need to work smart and work hard and build a business while the attorney is killing himself trying to make junior partner. And it's one of those things where I don't want to say it's like gambling, but it's more like it's a less of a chance. Like, you want to go be a plumber. We are dying for people in the trade industry right now. Electricians, plumbers, anybody out there working on utilities, all of these people, they will pay you very well, very, very well. Immediately, they will pay you well. Meanwhile, if you're going out there to be an attorney, it's going to take you years to build up credibility. Then maybe you're going to start your own law firm, or you can go and, become that junior partner. So hard to be able to go out and do that. And not everybody's going to succeed in doing it. Meanwhile, you've gone through it, and this is what my son is going for. So I'm like, kind of concerned, but not really. I mean, my kid's good. I think it's fine. But there's a lot of people who go that route, and it's like, are they actually going to be successful? Now, being an accountant, always good. Talking to my accountant, he goes, you really can't go wrong. You become a CPA, Sure, it could be mundane, but everybody needs one. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people need them, and you're going to be consistent with business. You're going to be perfectly fine. No issues whatsoever there. And you'll learn how to deal with your money very well, and you can invest very wisely. But you go into a trade here in the US, you will make bank. So anybody out there who has a child or anything that is into anything like that, definitely encourage them to go into a trade of whatever they're excited about, because that's where the and think about where we're going in the future. When we're going to EVs, we're going to need a lot of electricians, a lot of people who understand how the electrical grid works. That is going to be a very hot place for people to go. We're seeing tech companies laying people off right now, but we're seeing other companies like in my construction field, they're dying for help. We have people in the production industry. We have manufacturers who are giving us 5 to 6 week lead times because they don't have enough labor. Right now, the supply shortage for a lot of people is labor. And we're going to end up seeing a lot of these people who are in one industry shifting to another. Just like we saw back when, horse and buggy shifted over to ICE vehicles. It's not that people are losing their jobs, it's just that the jobs that are out there are transitioning to a different type of job, and that's what we're gonna end up seeing. So, definitely, fields to go into for sure in the future. Oh, nice, Melissa. Lehigh's awesome. That was one of the colleges I looked at. Let me see. Oh, man, Melissa, good for you. Yeah, so, like, I look back as a dad, and I remember when Benjamin was 9, I picked him up, and he told me to put him down because he was too big. That was the last time I picked him up, and actually, he's given me piggyback rides in the meantime, so it's kinda gone the other way now, but, like, I was like, "Ah," but at least I remember it. I remember the last time I did that, and then, he would always when I was driving him around, he would always lean over, I'd give him a kiss on the head, and I did that until, gosh, like, 2, 3 weeks ago, and then he started driving, and we get out of the car and switch places, and it just wasn't the same routine, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm too old for that." So, I still get the fist bump, though, so it's awesome. So excited about that, and he still says he loves me, so I love that. I will never let that go. But yeah, kids get older, and you lose that little thing. So, Karav, I know you're right there with him, and I know, you're a good kid too, so but kids get older, it just happens. It's alright. A Tesla RV could do live streams and as built-in kitchen and bathroom. So Marty, my plan is to get the van, RV or van. If they could do have an RV with the semi that's not requiring uh, a, CDL, I'll get that. But even the van, that's literally my plan. I will be driving around the country. I will be setting up backed up to some beautiful scenery. I will open up those back doors and be doing a live stream. Just like you guys remember when I started, when I had Moraine Lake behind me and on the wall, I'm going to be there for real. That is my plan, is to be doing live streams from awesome places like that. Yep, exactly, honey. That was exactly it. And yes, it would be a sweet write off. And that's exactly what the plan is. I'll be doing all of that. And, like I said, you can write off certain things, and if I'm planning on doing that and making that my living, part of it, then I will absolutely be writing off that, and that's exactly it. Perfect. And then any trips that I go on, because I'll definitely be traveling internationally. There's a lot of you guys I want to go and visit too. Da, da, da. Let's see what else we got on here. Yeah, Melissa, exactly. And I haven't even seen that on Amazon. Buy this, pay how many payments at 30% interest. I haven't even seen that because I always pay everything in full. But it's ridiculous what the interest rates are right now. You gotta be careful out there. Wow, you guys are on fire tonight with these comments. Sorry, I'm just a slow reader. Yeah, Biden. I don't know. I don't trust either side of the government. I'm in the middle. I'm very much like Elon. Not because of Elon. I always had the view that I did politically before I even really kind of followed Elon and Tesla and all that. It was same thing. I was typically just left of center, and now I'm kind of both. So I consider myself socially liberal and fiscally conservative. So that's kind of where I'm at, and but I don't trust either side. I think they both suck. And to me, it sucks that we only have two parties to choose from. I think it's a broken system altogether. Da, 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 da. Oh, here we go. Here's a good one. PowerPoint Paladin. Tim, Elon keeps hinting at Dogecoin. What are your thoughts? Is Elon hiding Easter eggs or playing with the media? So I've been saying it for a while now. I put $1 a day into Dogecoin. I've been doing this for probably a year now. And I don't even know how many I have. It's not a ton, maybe like 7 or 8 thousand Doge. But the way I look at it is Elon has already said that he is supporting Doge because the people on the factory floors want him to support it. He will do that. He clearly shows it with his actions by allowing you to make payments on a lot of different things in the merch store in Dogecoin. We are most likely going to end up seeing that happening at probably superchargers. We'll see that around the world, around the country. You'll be able to do that. As soon as we get up to a point where there's probably more regulations, I think we'll see it becoming more of a reality when it comes to Twitter. I think over on Twitter, we're going to end up seeing that as a form of payment on there for whatever plans they have for the future. I think Dogecoin is going to definitely take off once everything settles. So right now, sitting around this, 6, 7, 8 cent mark, I bought in the majority of, well, I bought in initially around 4 cents. Of course, it ran up. I bought some and I've been buying ever since. So I'm right around average, probably the 6 or 7 cent mark. For me, I think it's going to take off. I think we're going to at least get to $1. So it's going to be, people can easily say, all right, a Doge, $1. And I think that's going to be the base mark for it. Whether we go above that or anything, I don't know. But I'm basically looking at a Doge is $1. And so I'm like, if I've got 7,000, that means I'll have $7,000 when we get to that point, whenever that happens. So again, I think it's going to be good. I think cryptocurrency is going to be fine. I think once we get regulations, which we'll probably see end of this year or sometime in 2024, that's going to kind of open up the green light for a lot of institutions to get in because they don't want to play with something that doesn't have regulations on it. They want to play with regulated stuff so they can be safer with their money. And then at that point, I think we'll really see it take off. And then there too, there's so many coins out there. It's really going to come down to what are the most functional ones? What are people actually using for purchases and things like that? Those are the ones that people are going to tend to go with. I think Ethereum is going to end up being bigger than Bitcoin because Ethereum is actually functional. Ethereum will most likely be the biggest one that's out there, but I think Doge will be up there as well. Get your bone. You want taxes back? Well, if it all comes to true vision, EVs kill current government tax revenue. Optimist, labor kills income tax. Got to come from somewhere. Where is that? So it's not about not getting taxed. So the taxes would end up coming from people who spend the money. So if you're spending money, or there's different areas that you would still get taxed in, but I would then collect all of my money for income tax. So there's no income tax. I collect my entire paycheck. So if I get paid, $500, let's go with an easy number, $100 for the week. Here's my $100. Well, let's go $1,000 for the week. And I get to keep all of that instead of getting $700. So I'm keeping $1,000. But if I want to go out and spend, let's say my budget was $500, you do $500 plus the current tax, I'm maybe paying, $525 for that. Now, instead, I'm going to be paying $550 or $600 for my spending. So the government's still going to be getting that money coming in because it's going to be more because of what I spent, but I still get more money on the other end of it. And realistically, we all know full well the government needs to cut their spending. That is the problem. And that is what they need to do. Because if any one of us just had the ability to be like, oh, you know what? Man, I hit the top of my budget. You know what? I'm just going to print more money. Hey, here it goes. I'm going to print more money. And now I magically have more. I'll raise my debt ceiling. Now, instead of needing, $1 million, I'll just need 1.5 million and I'll just print out another $500,000 and we're good to go. And I could pay those bills. That is the crappiest way to run a budget. And the government does it. They're horrible. And that's why our taxes will continue to go up and up and up and up and up because they just keep taking our money. Because they keep on doing whatever they're doing. You can go in a tinfoil hat stuff and say they're doing shady things. And I think that there is definitely a lot of that going on. But how is it possible that all of these politicians, and I know we were talking about it on Twitter today, how is it that all these politicians that are out there right now started with, small net worth and then in their time in office have grown their net worth, like Nancy Pelosi was like, I guess, 2.5 million when she started at 3.5 and now is at $200 million for a net worth. These people are either the greatest investors ever in the history of mankind, or there's other shady crap that's going on. And I think it's a little bit of both. Obviously they're the ones who are making these policies. Anybody who tracks Nancy Pelosi's her husband and all the different dealings that they do within their investments, it's like, hey, imagine that he invested right before they decided to pass a bill for something with the EVs, and they bought a bunch of Tesla. Like it's like, duh, they know these things. They're clearly doing this stuff, and nobody's saying anything about it. So a lot of this is going on. They understand how the system works, and they milk the system just like Donald Trump said that they do. That's why the system's out there and they work it. So that's really what it comes down to. So yeah, I want my money back because it's my damn money and the government needs to straighten their shit up. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. So here, going back to the repair stuff, I don't think the Tesla repair monopoly is malicious, but if they don't expand massively, it's going to be a real problem. Yeah, I know the repairs need to go up. And obviously that's one of the things that they talked about when it comes to the insurance on the Q4 earnings call is the insurance numbers, the dollars they get, the revenue they generate isn't what they're looking at to hit the bottom line. That's not it. It's that immediate feedback when it comes to the vehicle crashes so that they can get the repairs done and then be proactive and actually produce the vehicle in a manner where they won't need to repair those parts in the future. That's the big one. So there's obviously going to be a lag in time between where that happens. And in the meantime, yes, they're going to need to definitely get out there and get these repairs done. But we also know that a lot of these vehicles do go to GM and Ford. Both of them have touted that they've seen a big uptick in business when it comes to getting EVs, getting Teslas repaired in their shops. So it's out there. And obviously people are going there because maybe Tesla can't fix them or whatever. There will be a robot tax. But don't forget that Elon did say that obviously GDP is created by labor. And so if you have bots that are out there producing labor at 10x what humans can, then you have a higher GDP. Humans can then consume more. That's just how it's going to end up going. And you'll end up having all of that revenue coming in for the GDP. And yeah, that it's all based off of that with the labor. So I don't know how that's going to get taxed. Honestly, I think businesses who use the bots may be the ones who get taxed bigger. I'll be getting off of here in a minute, but you guys have a ton of comments I want to go through before I go. Let's see. Oh, let me go. Adam, there's a lot of inventory in the UK. Tesla email me daily. As of now, electricity costs don't give up cost per mile advantage over gas diesel. Okay, so inventory, yeah, in the UK is there. But I know, Adam, you've been talking about how you're seeing more and more out there, but inventory building. I wonder what they're going to do over there. Keep us posted on anything that changes over there. That would be interesting to see. Do you know if are they using any like mega packs? Do you hear anything of that going on over there? Transitioning over. I mean, I know the UK did say that they're looking to transition. They're going to do the regulations for autonomy in 2025. Is it 2035 over that they're transitioning over to all EVs as well? Because I mean, obviously it's coming. It's just a matter of when. Yeah, Melissa, I wish I was an accountant that they have all the tricks. A good accountant is critical. I just talked to my accountant. I've learned a lot of the tricks from other people who have used the same system that I just taught you guys on. It's literally hand me down information that I've learned from my predecessors, people who have taught me, other people I've learned out here in the business. And then of course, just double checking with my accountant to verify that all of that is valid information, and it all is. Marty, having low interest debt in a mortgage or a car loan is better to slowly pay off because you're making, say, 3% a year on inflation. There's a lot of different ways to work it too. And just like buying a house, typically when the interest rates go up, housing prices come down. We haven't seen that fully happen yet. But if you bought a house, let's say it's $300,000 now, interest rates 6%, but interest rates go up to 8% and that house now comes down to 250,000. I would rather make that deal because I'll buy it for less. So the dollar amount that I'm taking a loan for is less, and I can always remortgage later when the interest rates come down, because then the interest rates are going to come down and the housing prices are going to go back up. Now I can take that $250,000 loan. If I have $200,000 left, I remortgage that at a lower rate. Now I'm paying even less money for that house initially. And that's the trick to do it with mortgages. Oh, that's good to know. Long. Same here out in the skilled plumber, electricians, mechanic. Also on so on skilled blue collar people in Australia, Western Australia. That's good to know that it's not just here in the U.S. So it looks like skilled trade labor around many areas in the world are definitely big. So hey, maybe you want to travel the world. Maybe you want to go be a plumber in Australia. Have at it. I love Australia, by the way. I was out there for 3 weeks about 20 something years ago. Beautiful, beautiful country. I love it there. Such friendly people too. I mean, I don't know if it's changed since then, but everybody was just so nice. It was crazy. Every single place we went to, I was in Sydney, Melbourne, Tasmania, Ayers Rock. We went to Cairn. All of them. Everybody, everywhere we went was just so nice. Let's see here. Uh, da, 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 da. Run through your comments here. You guys have so many. You're so awesome. Uh, Raven, I thought you'll buy a ticket to Mars. Maybe you can live a starship in Mars instead of your van. Well, I've got to transition. I've got little baby steps. So I'll go from where I'm at now, then I'll go to my van. Maybe then I'll upgrade to the RV when that's out. Once I get enough money saved up, I'll get my castle. And then from there, I'll take the rocket ship up to Mars. And then I'll do some live streams from Mars. This is awesome. One Doge eventually equal to the value of 1 kilowatt of hour of stored energy. That's phenomenal. Yep, your excess solar will be paid in Doge. Yep, trade in your energy for Doge. That's great. Karav, yeah, I saw that. Great. If you guys don't follow Karav, if you're out over on Twitter and you don't follow him, he's at Tesla Karav. Great, great numbers. I mean, if you guys are familiar with Troy Tesla, like very much the same. Karav, awesome kid. Very, very smart. He like the charts he puts up, like he puts my spreadsheets to shame. Amazing. And he's got I saw you're bumping up over 1100 now. You really got that groove going. So highly recommend you guys follow him over there. Raymond, experimented Bitcoin ETF managed to come out. Yeah, that was good. Obviously we saw the massive crash. So anybody who got out before that did very well. And I think it's going to come back. Crypto's not gone. Everything is going to rebound. We're just in a very difficult time right now. And this is the first time really that crypto's been through a time like this, very much like Tesla. Tesla has not been through as a publicly traded company, has not been a time through this. So, just brace yourselves to something new for a lot of these investments. Jim, what platform do you use to buy Doge? I use both SoFi and Robinhood. Robinhood's I have most of my crypto there just because it's there. And shame on me. I do have to admit I don't have mine in a wallet. I do it more for trading purposes, but it's just easier for me to do it that way. Um, I don't have a lot in there anyway, but that's just the way I do it. I had a bunch of BlockFi, and then of course BlockFi with the whole FTX thing went kablooey. But I will be getting paid out my money from them. I think actually that should be coming up soon. They're going to be paying everybody out, so I'll be able to take that money and put it elsewhere. Yeah, honey. Can we all invest in the Tesla robotaxi system and let that become our income? That's actually something I thought about. I don't know how they're going to let it go because my thought was, I'll just buy 5 or 10 Teslas and let them all be robotaxis, basically like Uber. I'll be at work and let them Uber around for me, and that's fine. I can hire one person. I'll have a garage, one person, or maybe when Optimus is out, I can have Optimus do it. They all come back, they park themselves, plug them into charge, and just keep on rotating. Like that's ideal. I mean, just brilliant. Like if you could do it, why would you not want to do that? I mean, obviously, companies like rental car companies will jump on that opportunity. You would think, but yeah, I thought about that before. That was going to be one of my plans was just have my own robotaxi fleet. It's brilliant. Da, 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 da. He told him, Melissa, you told your son he's not allowed to go to Mars? Oh, come on. Let him go to Mars. Let him be one of the first ones up there. Kids love to adventure. He'll send you a postcard from Mars. That's that. GM and Ford Tesla repair thing is a myth. See no evidence of it. They can't get parts. Current fleet will age and last longer. That's interesting because I've heard it, and Elon didn't deny it. Elon actually said, um, almost acknowledged it. So whether it's, I don't know. That's actually very interesting information. I will have to see if I can get more info on that. Adam, for the UK, it's a ban of new gas diesel cars in 2030. Okay, 2030. With the one caveat of plug-in hybrid cars with a significant zero emission capability to be sold through 2035. Okay, fair enough. But sounds like 2030 to 2035 range in time is going to be when the majority of the world is going to be forcing that transition to finalize. Let's see. Karav, if anyone wants to be less than 2% off of deliveries, go with 435K. Yeah, that's a great point. That's one of the things. Get your bone. What is the percentage of robotaxis relative to population? If everybody owns, no one makes money. That's another thing I thought of too. Is like, obviously, if everybody is going to do it, it makes no sense. Now everybody's sitting here with a fleet of cars that aren't going anywhere because everybody has them. So, I mean, obviously, it's not going to be for everybody. Not everybody can afford a fleet of Teslas. Um, so it'll be different, but it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. And again, it'll come down to competition. Whose vehicle fleet do you want to go with? Because obviously, somebody's sitting on 10 Teslas that haven't been paid for because they're waiting for the business to make the money to be able to do this. It's not going to do them any good. Or if you just have 10 Teslas sitting around doing nothing, it's a waste of money also. And if Tesla can produce new ones to sell, then you may not be able to sell yours either. Could be a losing money endeavor. So yeah, it'll be an interesting future for sure. And that's one of the things I had looked at, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how the world plays out in the next 5 years. Where is it? William, any comment on future hydrogen application at Tesla? Thank you. No, absolutely not. Elon has already said not going to happen. It's not. It's inefficient. The scalability of it is not there. The infrastructure is not there, at least with EVs. While the infrastructure wasn't there for charging, at least the electrical grid was there. Like, there's not like a hydrogen grid that's out there. So just going by basically what Elon said, and obviously he knows way more than I do, and I'm not saying what he says is factual 100%, but it makes a lot of sense. And from what I've heard from a lot of other people, that's it. I know Toyota's pushing for it. I've heard enough insiders saying that Toyota's kind of going the EV route right now to be compliant, but they're really pushing for hydrogen in the future. So maybe Toyota's thinking that a decade from now, we're going to see hydrogen become the disruption of EVs. Well, I don't know. There's a lot of technological advances that need to be made between now and then to make hydrogen become better than EVs. We'll wait and see on that one. But as of right now, sounds like there are no plans whatsoever for Tesla to get into hydrogen whatsoever. Hanif, why is Ford using VW's MEB platform supply issues? I did not hear that. I do not know. Could be supply issues. I know I've been hearing about a lot of still supply chain issues from a lot of legacy automotive makers, and it could be just that. That may be the reason why. Because there's crazy things like seats they can't get for their vehicles, like pretty significant things that they can't just go out and get elsewhere. They mentioned hydrogen in the part 3 report. Huh. Maybe I missed that. I mean, there's a lot of information that went through there. I will follow up and check on that, William. Thank you. Because like everything that Elon has said, it says it makes no sense. Unless it was going to be for different products, like maybe hydrogen would be used in some of the larger things, like maybe something to do with like large ships, like cargo ships or something like that. I truly don't know. Maybe there is a use for it of some sort in the future. Uh, yep, Raymond. Hydrogen was considered for commercial long haul trucking till Tesla Semi. Now that put it to rest. No, just going not to be bearish, not to be Tesla Q, but I always question everything. I have not seen any more details about the Semi since we obviously saw it get released. I haven't heard any production numbers. I haven't heard any more deliveries being made on these semis. Haven't seen any more on the road. Very curious as to what is going on with the Semi, and I'm hoping maybe we get some more information on the Q1 earnings call about that. I hope somebody asks that question if they don't just give us the information already, because it's been real quiet on the Semi front. Thanks, Melissa. Yeah, this is fun. I'm glad I ended up switching over to these. Like, I love making the videos for you guys, but to be able to chat with you guys all live, so much better than just going into my comments, because then I'm trying to find time during my day to talk to your comments, and all of a sudden, like, it's 5 or 6 hours later, and I'm responding to a comment from you guys that you made from the night before, and like, it doesn't even make sense anymore. We got new information that was going on in the world, so this is so much better with you guys. Let's see. Any news about range increase for Model Y or 3 this year? I haven't heard anything yet. The 4680, obviously, we know we got the standard range coming out on those. So I don't know if there's going to be a software unlock that's going to jump that up. Um, Based upon some of the things that Elon's alluded to, it doesn't sound like they're really hell bent on getting much higher range out of these vehicles, because it really comes down to a lot of times biological range. Most people, and I know some people can go much further, but most people are just like that 350, 400, maybe 450-mile range that you get into, and then you're like, you got to stop for the bathroom, you got to stop and eat something, whatever it is. You stretch your legs, people want to stop, and at that point you'll have a charger. You go and stop at that charger, you stretch your legs, go to the bathroom, grab a bite to eat, your vehicle's charged, and you move on. So do you really need to have that much more life and mileage on your vehicle and range? So it'll be interesting to see. I have no doubt they're going to have the technology there, but I don't know if it's going to be a big for them to push on it. Get your bone. I have high hopes for Ford. Don't know if the market will allow it to happen. Seems they may finally get it, unlike GM and many others. I agree. And I've said it before last year when Jim Farley came out and was just talking about how, literally respecting Tesla, talking about Tesla, admiring Elon and what Tesla is doing. The dude gets it. He's like, you know what? They're ahead of us. We know they're ahead of us. We want to be in that field. We understand what they're doing. We have no problems mirroring what they're doing, but doing it in our own way. And we want to try that. Dude, I respect that. Go for it. It's the companies like Jim who are like, we're leading the way. We're doing it the right way. Nobody's going to beat us. Like, dude, go pound sand. So I agree. I'm rooting for Ford all the way. I hope they do well. I was hoping for I was rooting for VW when Herbert Diess was there, but then they dumped him. So now it's like pound sand VW also. Uh, oh, here it is, Marty. So heavy industrial processes. Tesla said hydrogen will be useful, like smelting metals. Okay, that's what it was in the investor day. Thank you. And I'll double check and see if there's any other info, but that makes sense. Just so that they can, especially when you're getting into lithium refining, and things like that. And if they're going to do any mining, I don't know if they're going to end up buying a mining company for lithium. We'll see. Uh, you guys are funny. Melissa, this video has like 7 likes, 38 people. Should hit the like for Tim. I appreciate that. And for you guys who don't know how the algorithms work when it comes to YouTube and stuff, you jump on earlier in the video, you guys hit the like button. The more it bumps up the algorithm, the more it gets shown to more people who can then jump on and do the same themselves. That's how it works. So I do appreciate all of the likes for you guys who come on here. I've made it a habit for myself when I watch other people's videos. Sometimes it's while the ad is playing before the video even starts. I hit that like button, just my habit. I do appreciate it, all of you guys, for that. Just to bump the algorithm, get more people on here, get more of this conversation going as well. New to do. All right, that is it for the comments. You guys, so awesome. Always, as always, you guys are the best. And I always stay on here way longer because it's so much fun hanging out with you guys. And I look forward to one of these times, maybe at the Cybertruck event. If any of you guys are going to the Cybertruck delivery event, I will definitely be down there. And if I'm ever in your area, if you guys know I'm going to be in your area, I try to share where I'm traveling to regularly. Definitely hit me up. Let me know where you're at, and I will definitely meet up. I've met up with several of you already in different areas around the country. So I will definitely meet up with any of you also. Otherwise, I will see you guys all later. Thanks for the chat. Tomorrow, don't forget, I will not be on live stream tomorrow night. I've got Benjamin. I'll be having him. But I'll try to do a video or something for you guys just because we're going to have the interest rates. Maybe I'll even do just a short video. I'm going to try to throw out a short out there. So 2 to 3 o'clock tomorrow is going to be the interest rate hike, and we'll see how the market reacts. So we will see you guys